podcast. My name is Erin.
This is Donnie.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristen.
And we're here to make the world a creepier place. Ooh, that one was good. Alrighty. Okay, so this episode, my friends, is going to be around me and a certain town, I have notes, known as Huntsville. That's Huntsville, Texas, by the way, not Huntsville, Alabama. There are going to be around the years 2017 to 2020 when I was going to Sam Houston State University. For people that don't know Huntsville, Texas very well, it is a college town but also a prison / port town. Anyways, there are currently 7 prisons in Huntsville, and all the executions that happen in Texas happen in Huntsville at the Walls Unit, for those that don't know.
I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. And it's a few blocks from the university. So you can walk there if you want to see an execution.
Can you watch them?
No.
Oh.
Unfortunately, you
Why
can
do you
just
sound excited.
Yeah, that's good. That
if you're like victim's family or like family of the inmate, you can, but you can be outside and watch all the news crew and all that.
Would be pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so then if y'all can't tell, I went to school for criminal justice and forensic science. Miss it, want to go back. Now let me get into the ghost stuff. That's what y'all are here for. Okay, so the first weird stuff that happens when I was finally moved out of my dorm and went into my first apartment. Keep in mind, this apartment complex was fairly new, so ghosts wouldn't make sense, right? So during this time...
Wow.
There's a lot of
Okay.
history in Huntsville.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Okay, so then during this time, I would never leave my room. I was very afraid of socializing with my 3 other roommates. And before I forget, this apartment complex was pretty close to campus, walking distance too. So you know what that means. Yep, close to the Walls Unit. I could hear the siren / alarm for a count throughout the day from my classrooms and my bedroom. Well, I ended up doing summer school, and my first 3 roommates that were there also kind of stayed during the summer, but once that summer semester ended, they just completely moved out, and I ended up coming back to my apartment from visiting my parents, and it was completely empty, like brand new, almost like you're moving in for the first time. I didn't know.
They took off without letting you know?
Yeah. And then, let's see. I also have a video I took of it being empty because I was like, whoa, this is weird. And then, let's see. Yeah, on a certain video, I honestly thought this was great. I didn't have to be afraid of being downstairs. And I would finally wash my clothes downstairs.
Girl was shy.
I know, I was. I would, like, quickly cook eggs and then, like, run upstairs. And then I would, like, listen at my door to hear if they were downstairs at the kitchen.
Oh my God.
And then, so this new confidence of being able to roam around was also when I start to see the shadow figures more frequently. I would look and see things move around. The shadow figures, that is, not like actual objects. So I'd be like in the kitchen, washing my dishes, minding my own business, and I just see stuff constantly, and I'm like, am I going crazy? Because it'd just be in like the corner of my eyes. I was like, maybe they got floaters or something. I don't know. But I would see it all the time, and it'd only be at this apartment complex. And then this happened frequently. And I had also seen the movie Hereditary about a month or 2 before. So I was like, yeah, that movie kind of freaked me out. And then the fact I'm alone, it didn't help.
Wondering if there's just people in the shadows
Yeah,
waiting to...
and I was thinking of that little girl when she's in her brother's room in the corner, and then the basketball falls out. Yeah. So that movie, like,
nice
really...
and spooked.
Yeah, it really lingered on my mind. So the freedom had started to become more frightening than just anxiety. But this other little thing I'm gonna mention, it isn't quite paranormal, but I thought I'd like share for the spook factor. One of the nights I had the apartment all to myself. So this is when all my roommates were moved out and the apartment was completely empty, and there was a huge, like, massive rainstorm that happened ironically at 3 a.m. And it was like super huge, just really heavy rain, just nonstop for hours. And there was thundering and lightning, and I'm like, oh my god, I
And
can't
you're all
do
by
this.
yourself.
Yes. And this apartment was kind of huge because it's like 4 people to one complex, I guess. And it's like 3 rooms upstairs, and you got downstairs another room, and then you got like a living room and kitchen. And so I was like, I can't do this. And I said it wouldn't have been so bad if I had roommates at this time, but for whatever reason, I was so scared and paranoid. So to ease my mind, I grabbed my laptop, put on Netflix, and watched The 40-Year-Old Virgin. The storm was rough. Like I mentioned before, it was pouring rain and constant thunder and lightning. I just kept imagining that I really wasn't alone, and someone was either... What did I write? Was either, hiding somewhere in the apartment, or someone was going to show up. So fast forward, Donnie moves to Huntsville with me.
Couldn't take it no more.
We move out of the apartment complex we move out of the apartment complex to move into a different one that is closer to campus, but also older.
She was hiding me in the other apartment
Yeah, the one that
complex.
I was seeing the shadow figures. He started working at the prison, so instead of driving from Brenham to Huntsville, he illegally stayed in my room.
Ooh.
Oh, so did you work at the prison just to be closer?
Well, he needed a job.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless, you
I was like out of a job for 3 months when I left the pipeline, and I was desperate, and they were the only place that called me back. So
And then, so,
Yeah, they're in the older apartment building now.
yep, the older one, I think they said it was like in the 70s was when they built it. And then during this time, I had made some new friends, and I would hang out at their apartment frequently. But guess where their apartment complex was located? Yep, the one I moved out of. Different apartment, but same complex. So this is where I left off my notes, so I'm just going to wing it. So my friends, I would tell them, I'm like, hey, when I was living at this apartment complex, I would see shadow figures all the time. And they're like, no, I do too. Like, we see that all the time here as well. And I was like, really? Huh, so I'm not going crazy. And then they start sharing, like, really frightening stuff that they were experiencing. Unfortunately, I didn't. But they said they would hear screams at like 3 a.m. They heard someone just running up the stairs when they're completely alone. And then I remember one night I was speaking to one of the roommates, and I was sitting on like a chair facing the kitchen, and her back was facing the kitchen. And it was probably between midnight and 3 a.m. And I see something like a shadow figure, but this time it wasn't more of the corner of my eye. It was like I actually saw something like move, and I told her, I'm like, hey, there was something that just moved. And she's like, Erin, shut up. Please stop. And then I was like, yeah, I saw something. She's like, I swear recently, like the faucet, the sink came on by itself, like not long before I had said I saw that, and I was like, well, it's hanging out in the kitchen. Look at this. And then I
At least
ended up
it's in a
leaving.
designated area.
Yeah. So then I ended up leaving, and then some other night. So it was kind of near Halloween, but wasn't quite Halloween. And I was over at this apartment complex again. And we're like, hey, let's do something spooky. It's midnight. So we were like, let's go to Demon Road. So then we're like, okay, yeah. And we're driving. We get to this cemetery that's on Demon Road. Martha Chapel Cemetery. We'll probably get into that later too, maybe. And we pull up. Donnie was with us. And all of a sudden, as we're pulling up, we're like, yeah, this is going to be spooky. We see a truck parked there with no lights on, and we're like, dang it. Like, well, that sucks. We're not going to go out. We don't know these people. So then we're leaving, and then there's no fog anywhere, and then all of a sudden, we hit this one pocket of just fog. And it kind of lasts a little ways. We're like, well, that's really scary. It's a full moon, and we're on Demon Road.
Some fog comes out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Also, this road, official name isn't Demon Road, it's Bowden Road, but it's like a nickname they given because of all the creepy stuff they see there. And then, I guess my last little story I will include is when Donnie and I were at our new apartment. We were unloading groceries, and we both hear a voice like in our apartment, like near our kitchen table, and I don't really know what it said, but it kind of sounded like my name. I don't know, I'm just like, it said my name. Like, that's scary. And then as soon as we hear it, I like dash behind Donnie and I'm like, did you hear that? And he said, yeah, I heard it. And then he said he heard it again, but you said you don't remember hearing it again.
And you heard it say Erin?
I don't.
Or you just heard like a whispering?
I mean,
It was
I
like a
don't
voice
remember.
in the
Voice.
apartment, like someone was in it.
That's creepy either way.
I kind of remember it, but I kind of don't.
Dang it, Donnie, you
I
gotta
was
go.
drinking a lot at that time.
Digging that memory.
I remember it vividly because it really spooked me, and then ever since then, I was like, I can't be in this apartment without sound. So we, in our bedroom, we had a TV, and whenever I would wake up and want to leave, I would have to leave that TV on, go to the living room to turn that TV on, go back to the bedroom to turn the TV off in the bedroom. I'm like, I'm not being here in silence. There's no way.
But we've also heard like thumps upstairs because
Yeah.
it had a loft and there'd be like noises up there and I'd go look, nothing's there.
Yeah,
you know.
there's no one. There was no one living up there at the time.
But possible debunking, there was a raccoon
Raccoon.
hole
Yes.
over top of the stairways thing. So, but I mean, most of the time you could kind of tell the difference between
If
the
it was,
raccoon because it was
like-
more of like a scratching, like, you know,
Yeah,
claws,
that-
but
that
this
was
was more of like a
another
boom, you know, like bumps and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I guess, you know, you could also chop up to the neighbors because the walls would like, you could push the walls and
And
they
it
would
would, like-
move in. Like,
Oh my god.
so
It was very nasty, and they were like covered in tar from
from
people
the
before
previous
from
owner because they
smoking.
allowed smoking in the apartment. So like there would be like, yeah, tar.
You
on
could
the
see
walls and
it
stuff.
on the ceiling, like all the tar, like the
Yeah.
color of it. It was
Yeah.
so
That was
gross.
ectoplasm.
I don't know what they were doing in that shower, but there was like
There was like pubes
pubes.
on the
Oh.
ceiling. I don't know how you get
Oh.
curly. They were
It-
curled.
well, they weren't like
Maybe it was a
long
tall
pubes.
person
Yeah, they
it
were,
was
like,
like
curly
really
hair.
tiny, curly,
I don't know.
pubic looking hair, but they're like really small.
And yes, and they were all over the like ceiling of the shower.
Is it a college town?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some
they
like.
advertised that apartment as being 90 steps from
50, isn't it?
I don't know,
50
some there was
50
like a
steps away
number
from
less than
campus?
100 from campus. But yeah, and then I remember one time I got really scared because I could hear scratching like on the walls, and I was like, "What the heck?" But it's just a raccoon.
Well, we did have a crazy cat lady.
We
living
had
next
a
to us,
very
so-
crazy neighbor. She, I don't want to be rude, but she definitely had mental issues.
Skitzed out, probably.
She was very paranoid and would say like,
Saying
this,
she works for the government
CIA.
and like has cameras all over the apartment complex and in the
Oh.
parking lot across the way that are watching
She
her
said-
apartment because people are trying to like
Sex traffic,
sex
basically.
traffic in the apartment next to ours and all this other
Even though
crazy
they were
stuff.
just friends, all hanging out. She's like, that girl, you can't trust that guy. And then she's like, you see that parking lot over
She's
there, that
giving out the
blue
scoop.
light? Yeah. She's like, you see that blue light over there? And Donnie's like, no. And she's like, way over there. And that blue
Oh,
light.
it's like the emergency
Yes.
light pole, like for the call button
Oh
for
my
direct
goodness.
line to the police. I was like, that one? She's like, no, the green one.
But the only light was that emergency light that they have in parking lots if people feel threatened and they hit them and alert police. And she's like, I have one in that tree way over there. You see that light? And there's no light. And there's no way she would get a camera in the tree.
And apparently they're like so small you couldn't see them either. Like, yeah, some crazy stuff.
Yeah, off topic of our paranormal, but yeah, like,
But still, kind of related because it's
yeah,
weird.
it's weird and spooky.
Huntsville seems really weird. Like, okay, so I had a few questions though about your story. Like, first of all, your shadow people.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Was it like full figures, or was it
Um,
like my dad saw? I talked about on the last episode where it was just like a ball.
No, it did seem more like silhouette, kind of like it was long, so you would see him like do this. Not like this, but like this.
Weird. And
And-
then go on.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, what... Because my friends were saying in their apartment complex that they were seeing stuff, too. And it's like, why, if these are newer apartments, why is it haunted? And
That execution.
yeah, I was like, maybe...
Oh yeah, because
so
it's like
close
right
to
next
prison,
to it
yeah.
too.
You can walk to it, pretty much. So So it was like maybe all
Those
the
are some
inmates.
evil spirits. Those aren't good spirits.
Yeah, we were actually eating at Mr. Hamburger, not
Yeah.
a sponsor, but shout out if you're in the
Yeah,
Huntsville
Mr.
area.
Hamburger is good.
Go ahead, get that 3 meat, 3 cheese burger.
And their
we were-
burgers are named after like prison and the college. They'd be like the
Oh my
warden
gosh.
or the
Oh my
professor.
goodness.
Or
Sparky,
Sparky for the
yeah.
chair or whatever.
Oh, that's messed up.
What the heck?
But we were actually eating at Mr. Hamburger when an execution was supposed to take. I don't know if they
No,
did
they
it go
went through, and I
'Cause, like,
have the
there was-
case on my phone.
There was
It's
all
on there.
sorts of like people outside the prison
news.
and news people
And you got
just
people
waiting.
that like protest with signs
Yeah.
that are like anti-death penalty out
Yeah.
there. And like that case was like a really big case when it happened. I don't know if y'all know it, but it was like a hate crime case.
Oh.
And the guy had like beat up this one dude, tied him up to his truck, and then drove with him dragging behind it and ended up killing him.
Oh yeah, kill him.
Yeah. Josh. Yeah, it's okay. It's justified, right? An eye for an eye. But yeah, we sat out. We're like, I told Donnie, I'm like, hey, they got an execution at this time. So we went to Mr. Hamburger because the window is right in front of like the prison, and you could see we were watching them while we were eating our burgers.
That's insane. Huntsville sounds like it's another world.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the shadow figures. We've got eating the sparkler burger
Sparky.
while
Yeah.
watching people get killed. And then we have Demon Road. Can someone explain more what Demon Road is?
Yeah, that one interested me the most when I was kind of trying to look into like the Huntsville stuff, like the ghosts that people see.
Mm-hmm.
And like multiple people have like said they've seen like the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the boy on the tricycle.
Boy
Oh,
on the
yeah.
tricycle.
I've
Yeah,
heard
which
of that
kind of
story.
relates to like the kid ghost.
Yeah.
There's like a young boy like that rides around on a tricycle on the road, or you know, like a ghost. And I think that would be very creepy to see
Yeah.
driving
Yeah.
down the road.
It's like Saw,
Jeez.
Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember being a kid, my uncle let my mom borrow like a Weird Texas book, and Demon Road was in it. So that's how I originally heard of it. And they said they call it Demon Road because there's like a hooded figure that walks along the road. So it could be like a demon, and it's supposed to like chase people like as they're driving by.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Another one I saw was people say that there is a pale creature with lizard-like skin and sharp teeth, kind of humanoid.
Mark Zuck.
Maybe so.
This video
Or
has
just
just been
feeding
deleted
grass.
from Facebook.
Look, this is what it says
Yeah.
about Demon Road. It says this one says the Ghost Rider. One of the earliest stories of ghosts roaming Demon Road concerns the tale of a young boy with gleaming eyes cycling a tricycle along the road by the cemetery.
Yeah.
The boy has been confronted copious times, and it is stated that as you near him, he just disappears into a thick bank of fog that appears right out of the blue.
Oh, y'all just
So
missed
young.
him when y'all were when y'all saw
Dude,
the fall.
I didn't even
Oh my
know that.
God, he was right there.
I was like thinking, I'm like, I'll say it because, you know, it's spooky. But I'm like, it's probably just natural, you
Yeah.
know? It was
Y'all
a
didn't keep
little-
y'all's eyes peeled.
For real. Holy
says-
smokes, we just missed him.
Other times, he will slowly stop his tricycle, turn back, and stare at you with those glowing eyes.
Good thing I did not look behind us.
It is said that if he finds you wanting, if he finds that you've committed crimes too vile, the boy will later that very night sneak into your bedroom and solely suffocate you to death, making you experience the misery and cruelty you have brought on the world with every clawing gasp.
They getting really in depth there.
Yeah. But that kind of goes back to the whole like previous episode with why kids are scary. Well, this is
Yeah.
a little evil dude. What's not scary? He kills people.
Unsupervised children are
Yeah.
creepy.
So this lizard man is on the same road, Demon Road? What the crap is
Yeah.
people
It's
seeing
Huntsville.
different?
It's
So-
East Texas.
Some people say that maybe it is a Wendigo or a skinwalker.
Oh
Donnie's
no.
favorite.
Which,
Yeah, Donnie.
if I am correct, Huntsville started off as a Native American trading post, so there is a lot of like Native American lore around there.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and the skinwalkers and Wendigo are Native American folklore. So the Wendigo is often said to be a malevolent cannibalistic spirit, sometimes depicted as a creature with human-like characteristics which possesses human beings. And the skinwalkers are a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess or disguise themselves as an animal. So
That's scary.
some of those like descriptors kind of match up with the pale lizard-like skin creature.
Yeah. Then, like, speaking of the whole Native American thing, like at the prison cemetery, yes, there's a prison cemetery, and there's a grave of like Chief Santana. And then I remember doing like a tour at the Walls unit, and we went to like the really old part where they don't use for like housing inmates, they just use it to tour. And apparently a movie with Kevin Costner in it was filmed in that section of the prison. Well, fun fact. And then I remember seeing a photo, and I think it was like the Ghost Hunter show, and they like signed it, so I guess they did an investigation there. That's something. But I remember hearing a story about like some Native American guy that was sentenced there like early on, like 1800s. I don't know if this is the same story, but there was like a beheading that happened there, so I don't know if he's a part of that. I can't remember, so I'm not gonna go into that because I won't be fact checked. But I don't know if it was Chief Santana or what, but it kind of goes with the whole Native American thing. And spook factor, people died, and I did get to see where they execute people. I saw death row, but I didn't see no one get executed.
Well, don't sound so disappointed.
I know. Well, I will tell you, they picked a really weird color, like paint for like the walls. It's a like tealish green color.
Oh, really?
They said it was the cheapest paint on sale.
Oh my god. That
Just
makes sense.
There is a grave in the cemetery down that road that has like a hole in it.
The Demon Road?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I was telling them
Erin was
about
talking
that before.
earlier.
I
Oh,
pictured,
really?
yeah, I was like, whenever we went to go check it out, there was like a grave that's kind of like above ground, you know?
Yeah.
And it had a hole and you could see the coffin in it. I'll insert a picture. We'll insert a
Yeah, it's
picture.
kind of like a tomb, but like in the ground.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them vampires at bay.
Yeah.
Zombies.
I know.
But it's like Skinwalker Ranch is supposedly, I don't know if y'all have heard of Skinwalker Ranch.
No.
Yeah.
It's up north, I believe.
It's like in Utah, I think.
Yeah, somewhere up there. But supposedly it's because I think 2 Native American tribes were feuding, or one was like being super aggressive and taking over land. And so the tribe that was fleeing cursed the land, and then somebody bought like 500 or so acres and started seeing all this crazy stuff going on.
Dang.
So it's another like kind of like with the cursed stuff with Native Americans.
Yeah. We did get a few comments we'd like to go over, like YouTube comments that are fan emails. Don't forget, email us at Terrorform terrorformpodcast@gmail.com, or message us on Facebook, Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube. Tell us your scary stories.
Y'all know what to do.
Shout out to the ones who have been commenting.
Yeah,
For
shout
show,
out.
for show.
We require interaction.
So we would like to go back here and look at a few of these comments. Just to show you we will talk about them.
Right. We do have them.
Maybe.
So, I know for sure we said the Hat Man had a comment, right?
Yes.
This is coming from, I don't know how to pronounce this. Prophet Giratina.
Giratina.
Prophet Giratina says, "Here is my story of the Hat Man. I saw a dude in the middle of the night." The dude part. I saw a dude in the middle
Why can't
of the
you?
night in the street.
What the heck is going on?
Am I missing something?
I get twisted.
The
you want me to
seriousness,
read
what you're
it?
saying, the dude.
Oh god.
The dude. I saw a dude in the middle of the night in the street, wearing a trench coat and a hat. I saw him again a week later. Turns out it was just a dude who was sleeping with the neighbor's wife, and he didn't want people to know who he was. It was crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you for that comment, Prophet Giratina.
Thank you.
We also had a comment on our last episode, Trailer House Terror.
Tongue twister.
Trailer House Terror.
Say that fast.
Trailer House Terror.
Oh, I can't. I already know. Trailer House Terror.
Trailer House Terror.
Close enough.
Okay, so this is from Kristen's sister. Okay. And she says, I don't know if you remember, Kristen, but we were playing in that room in the trailer that you speak of, and Misty was there. And on the bottom bunk of the bunk beds, there was a blanket laying flat, and I saw the blanket raise up, but not the whole thing. The sides stayed down, but in the middle of the blanket only. And then it fell back down. No one was on the bed when that happened. That's pretty creepy. Right there.
Yeah, that's the
I would
room
freak
that
out.
my parents were creeped out about, and they took
Oh,
the
with the
closet
closet?
down because it, creeped them out so much. I don't remember that happening, but I do remember
Per se.
her telling me that. So, well, I forgot about it like when we were discussing the trailer house stuff, but yeah, I vaguely remember her telling me that.
That's creepy. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
We have another comment here from Christopher Holt. On the topic of ghost kids, what are you all's thoughts on the phenomena of black-eyed children? Now, I remember we discussed, we were thinking about doing a future episode on that.
Yes.
So should we
we should.
Yeah.
hold off
Yeah.
and
I'll
research?
just say
Here's my preliminary
Yeah,
thoughts.
we'll
I
just
am
go into
aware
it.
of this topic, and it really scares me. And I hope I never run into them.
I was gonna say when I first read about them in like junior high or early high school, I was like, that was one of my fears of like having an encounter with one like outside my window
Yeah.
or out the door in the car or something.
And now that we hand out candy for Halloween, like it's always in the back of my head, like what are we gonna do if some kids show up with some black eyes? Like,
We're going to give them some candy.
I'm gonna pay somebody I'm gonna give them black sclera contacts and pay them to come trick
I
do
thought
it.
about like doing that with my niece and nephew, seeing if they could handle like the contacts and like taking them around.
do a photo shoot.
They probably could. Those scaleras are intense. Maybe just little bitty ones.
We do have another comment I just remembered.
Oh, okay.
It's from the first episode, The Smiling Man. This is also from Kristen's sister, JC.
No, they...
She says, the sleep paralysis y'all keep bringing up. I was sleeping when younger in what most people know as the computer room, but turned into my brother's room later. So this is the haunted house.
Room. Yeah, this is the haunted house that I grew up in, and this is the room me and my cousin were in when I saw the Hat Man.
Okay.
Many of hours of RuneScape were played in that room.
Is this where the icy hot was applied?
Oh no.
No comment.
Icy hot was also applied in this room. Maybe for a future episode we can go into that horrific story. Giving me night terrors for a week.
He's got trauma. He's sensitive.
Okay, so this happened in that room, the icy hot room. Kristen was in the living room. I don't remember falling asleep because in my dream, it was the exact same room, same thing going on, just trying to sleep. Then all of a sudden, I couldn't move and I couldn't see anyone in the room. Just saw the room and the hallway light up by a light from the house next door. And then there was a low growl / moan sound in my right ear. Maybe the Hat Man from the second episode, who knows? But I was terrified. After the sound, I couldn't move, and I quickly went into the living room, and that was that.
I do remember that, and I thought about bringing it up or maybe saving it for an episode about her experiences. But yeah, she. I remember when that happened, and it really creeped me out. because she said like she heard it growling and like breathing in her ear, and she couldn't move for a while, and then like she was finally able to move again and like turn around, and she didn't see anything, and then that's when she got up and went in the living room and told me about it.
That's freaking creepy. Speaking of sleep paralysis, just to keep everyone updated, I hadn't had it in a while, like when we started the first episode, and now it seems to just be happening. Just it's a regular thing now again.
We're cursed.
And
Well, maybe that ties in with what we said, I believe, in the first episode. The more you discuss
Yeah.
it,
Right, talk
The
about
maybe
it.
more
It's like
stuff.
manifesting
Yeah,
it.
maybe
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we had a viewer who told us that they saw like what they described as maybe like a ghost go past the camera, and we were gonna post a clip of that probably sometime today or tomorrow, which we're recording this on Friday. So before you see this episode, you'll probably see this clip. But maybe it was
inserted
that
into
ghost
the-
that's in
It's
this
like
house.
a orb goes right across Donnie's face.
Yeah.
Pointed out, gave us a timestamp. We reviewed it, and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Shout out if you caught it.
Yeah.
Shout out.
AKA Brian.
So this
Or any other viewers who may have seen it.
and we're
But
too scared
Brian
to
was the
tell
one
us.
who brought it to our attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really weird. Y'all showed us that, and we were like, oh, okay, maybe. Maybe so.
And then right after that happened, you had
Yeah.
sleep paralysis.
Yeah, and okay, let me try to remember exactly what happened. It was a work night. Okay, I remember that much. I'm sleeping. Okay, that's when sleep paralysis happens.
Makes sense.
Okay, but
It's all adding up now.
it's all adding up. Okay, so I woke up though, and I don't remember being paralyzed yet. Okay, it's all coming back. It's all coming back. This is real time. This is real time. Okay, I wake up and I'm wide awake. Okay, wide awake, and I'm like, I need to go back to sleep. It's a work night, and I don't want to look at the time because I don't want to see that it's 3 a.m. because I don't want to get in my own head. So I'm just laying there and I'm like, fall back asleep. And I kept getting this feeling that someone was like staring at me. And I don't know if y'all ever get that feeling like someone's looking at you. And a lot of the times you're right. If you look around, you'll see someone looking at you and then they look away really fast.
Yeah.
I felt that laying in bed at night and that was
The
creeping
worst
me
time
out.
to feel it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like keeping my eyes closed. I'm like, I don't even want to look. I don't want to see someone looking at me. I don't want to see someone in this room. And I keep hoping that like I hear my dog Juliet start walking around, because if I hear her walking around and she's not like barking or anything, then I'm like, I'm good. There's nothing in here. So I lay there long enough to where I'm like, okay, I'm not falling back asleep. This isn't happening. So I want to take a melatonin to go back to sleep.
Mellow out.
So
Mellow.
pop the melatonin.
Oh.
And when I do that, I decide first I need the light to reach for the melatonin on the nightstand. So I hit the light and I look down. Of course, it's 2:45 a.m. I'm like, cool, 15 minutes to 3. If I'm not asleep,
here?
yeah. If I'm not asleep in 15 minutes, it's going down. And pop the melatonin, and I lay there and I'm thinking about it, and I feel the melatonin start kicking in probably about 15 minutes later, I would say. Okay. So at this point, this is the first time that I'm falling asleep into sleep paralysis versus waking up during it, like waking up and being frozen. I felt myself, before my brain went to sleep, I felt my arms going like numb and paralyzed.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh, no. So I start kicking my foot and I shake myself out of it. And I do this a couple of times where I feel myself going paralyzed and I'm kicking myself out of it. Because I'm like, I don't want that to happen.
Give in to it, Josh.
And
I'm
then,
just like dead asleep and
Yes.
you're struggling.
as I'm fighting the sleep paralysis, I start hearing around the room little like whisper, and I can't make out what they're saying. Just, and I was like,
Barked at you.
no. I'm not hearing that right now. I'm not hearing that. It's because I'm starting to fall asleep, but I'm not asleep yet, and I'm kicking out the sleep paralysis still, and I'm hearing this, and it stops for a second, and then I hear right in front of my face, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, okay. that was not Kristen. It should be Kristen because Kristen's right
But,
here.
but it was her
It
voice.
sounded like her voice, but it was a whisper, so it was hard to tell. So it's like it was a female voice whispering. Maybe it was the don't go back. Maybe it was her, and she didn't like that I was talking about her. But it goes, did you hear that? And I don't respond because I'm like, you don't respond to ghost. You just you pretend it's not happening, and it goes away. And I'm like, this isn't Kristen. This is something else. And I don't respond, and then it goes, look.
Where?
Look. And I go, no. Well, actually, I go, because I couldn't get the no out because I'm still in a half sleep state.
Boy, moaning over there.
And yeah, I refused to open my eyes. I did not look. I kept my eyes closed, and eventually I fall asleep, I'm guessing, because next thing you know, Kristen is like coming in there because she's leaving for work before me. And Kristen's going in there to be like, hey, I'm leaving, bye, and give me a kiss and all that. And when she's standing in the doorway, like, I don't remember this. But Kristen said, I look at her and I go, are you okay? And you go, yeah? And what'd you say after that?
I said, yeah, why? He said, you're acting weird. I was like, I'm fine. And then he just like stares at me. And I was like, you're the one that's acting weird.
You're acting weird. Which I'm guessing is because in my brain I was still like, was that Kristen going, look. So yeah, that was pretty creepy there.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad time.
Boy over there fighting for his life.
Fighting for my life over there.
Croissant.
I'm just going through life like nothing's wrong. Nothing's
Top
happening.
that, demons in this house. Bet you won't do it again. No, please
You
don't.
want to? Are you challenging them?
Challenge them, Josh.
Challenge them. Should them get scared.
Well,
Should I show off my little prison dude real quick?
Oh, yeah. Send us your doodles.
That's it.
Send us doodle pics.
Send your artistic depictions
Don't look at my
of
notes.
our spooks.
Thank you for listening to Terrorform Podcast.
Join us next week.
Stay spooky.